Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Trade the Chain. It is February 15th, and it's a Monday. Happy Monday. And if you're in the U.S., happy President's Day to everybody. It's a banking and market holiday. We hope you had a fantastic Valentine's Day. It's a little bit cold in Northeast by me, but other than that, the market is heating up. I'm joined by my co-host, crypto analyst, CJ from marketrebellion.com, and myself, Alex Mascioli from tradethechain.com. CJ, I hand it over to you because Ryan and Monty have the day off. I don't know who authorized that.
Just a reminder that nothing on this show should be considered financial advice. Trade the Chain and Market Rebellion Crypto are for educational purposes only, and this should not be construed as financial advice. Trade the Chain is also brought to you by Trade the Chain, an AI-driven sentiment indicator and actionable alert system to help you beat the market. This also comes with a community of traders all throughout the world sharing secrets of their victories and defeats. And a quick look here at the sentiment dashboard with a little bit of bearish activity across the hourly, but Alex will get into that once we go more into the charts. And then moving over to marketrebellion.com/crypto. Get exclusive ideas to trade ideas. Our macro portfolio allocations, those are actively managed, by the way. We're doing, it's almost like a transparent hedge fund. So if you want to get those insights and those allocations direct, you can sign up at marketrebellion.com/crypto for just $1 for the first month. It also comes with a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. So once again, as you can see, oh no, it's over here, marketrebellion.com/crypto. But moving to the big boards here, let's take a look at Bitcoin. A lot of interesting stuff happening. We're finding support here on the middle Keltner channel on the 4-hour chart. And if you check this out, you know, we often use this level as continual support throughout uptrends. That's what we've done quite a bit recently. So we're finding support here off the 47K level. And, you know, we're kind of in this ascending pattern where we keep testing this 48K level. Now it's up to 48K 800. And so above that level, we're looking at 50K and 62K respectively. And so I was telling Alex this before the show, but lining up at this current posture, I am one of the most, this is one of the most bullish shows I've ever felt before a show like this, rather. But then going to the weekly chart, this is really the one that just convinces me that we're going to have continual bullish price action. Just due to the fact that we came down, we did retest, but we had the strength to buy that dip and rally up to our previous high. And there's really nothing in front of us other than that 50K level of psychological resistance, then following up with a secondary target of approximately 62K. I think we're still on track to get there in the next 2 to 3 weeks, possibly even less. And the reason why I'm so bullish this week, especially after today's price action, is that we have a couple different factors. We have in the United States and North America, markets closed because of President's Day, very low volume. We also have a holiday all throughout Asia for this week, the year of the ox, I believe, in the Chinese New Year. So there's no volume over there. All of those individuals are not working. They're celebrating. I'm sure they're still trading a little bit too. But as a result, my point is that the volumes have decreased drastically, and Asia has had a tendency to sell off the market during American holidays or North American holidays. And so it wasn't a huge surprise to see a 10 to 15% drop in some of these alts yesterday. But the fact that we've actually been buying that dip up and rallying forward all throughout the start of this day and going into this week is incredibly bullish going into these next 6 to 7 days throughout the rest of the week. So these are my target levels. I think we're going to keep going up based on the fact that we were able to be this resilient in the midst of low volumes leads me to be very bullish throughout the next few weeks. I also have some macro models we'll get to, but before that, I want to let Alex jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, you're correct on the holidays. I really think that when it comes to the holiday in China, we didn't see as big a sell-off as I thought we were going to see, right? And I actually had forgotten about New Year's over there. But then we came into a Monday and it was President's Day here. The fact that we kicked back a little bit, I think is a healthy kickback, because I really do believe once we get over that 50,000, and I thought honestly that early this morning I saw where the price was. I said, I think we're going to hit 50K today. It doesn't look like we're going to do so far. Maybe by the time the show airs in an hour and a half, we will. But until then, once we get over that mental mark of 50K, we're into what's called the blue sky zone, I think, to what CJ had said last week on the show.
Blue sky breakout.
Blue sky breakout. And there's no honey holes in sight on that one. And we're going to go 262K. And it would be really nice to do it before the month's out. I also have a sneaky suspicion, and CJ, we spoke about this before we got on, that once we see the next round of corporate filings, there very well could be another company that gets into the Bitcoin balance sheet mix. And I think that'll help support whatever level, which I hope is 62, and move that on up towards the next one. Looking at the sentiment for Bitcoin, it is definitely driving down to the lower right now within the hourly, and it's neutral on the daily sentiment. You can see that the relative trading volumes are only about 9% today, and that's to be expected. But the price in the 48.5 range and on up, we've got within 2% of 50,000, and I think that's going to come. I don't know if it's going to be in this market or today's market. Here's what the daily looks like on the sentiment to price correlation. It's pretty much just lockstep. You see a deep sentiment dive over here, and this is kind of what drove us down earlier in the day, and then moving on up slowly. So I think we may have a breakout in, let's call it 5 to 8 hours, where sentiment goes positive, and hopefully that will be the time we go to 50K.
Well, you have VGX there on your favorite list.
I was just giving a little hint. It was an undercover hint.
We've had a lot of questions about, what's your levels to buy VGX? What do you think is an optimal entry to add to a potential VGX position? So if you look at this pattern, it's pretty simple. We've had these incredible run-ups based on partial news, as well as volume really coming in during the Asian session. And we're very fundamentally macro bullish on VGX. And so in my opinion, what I would be looking to do to get in is watching this white middle Keltner channel, because as you can see, with each run up, we get a little bit overextended. We typically hit a 9. I'll zoom in here to show you guys that we've actually hit a perfect 9 on each top on the 4 hour. So here you can see this is our first top at around $1.40. We consolidate, we go all the way through the kind of like white Keltner channel. We come up here again, we top on a very similar red TD cell 9. And then we consolidate on that white Keltner channel. And then we've come up the third time and we've topped on a green 9 as well. And so we've hit our third top on VGX. I'm expecting price to consolidate anywhere near this white Keltner channel for potentially the next few days or week before ultimately testing up towards further highs. I'm looking at $10 as a potential area to start taking profit and start taking chips off the table and diversifying or rebalancing, if you will. But ultimately, these are the levels that I'm looking at, anywhere around 350 to 360 around this middle Keltner channel.
And CJ, where are you looking for support on VGX right now? Because a lot of people asking about that. What is this short-term support level?
Short-term support level is this white line at around 360. The ultimate bottom Keltner channel, which I don't think will go below. We might test it. If you look at previous runs on the 4-hour, we've tested it briefly. We've never firmly broke below it. So I don't, and that price right now would be around $3. So I don't think we'll go down below $3 unless like the entire market sells off and goes back to like 45K. But I don't think that's particularly likely in our current trend. So we'll have to watch. But this is the most like notable support coming in. First, it's coming in at 360, then it really comes in at $3, and then the strongest support is that previous at around 263. One mistake I've made in the past is saying, oh, I'm not going to buy in, I'm going to really be patient and be disciplined and wait till we get to these lower levels to buy back in. But many times, VGX just never gives you the opportunity to buy that perfect pullback. So sometimes, you know, I'll just buy in, still thinking that the price is going to go lower, just to get in regardless. Because one thing I will end with is just saying, you know, trading is not about being a perfectionist. Trading is about making money. So.
Have you seen the order book skip between the bid and the ask on VGX when the market's humming? I mean, you can have a 35 cent spread on some occasions. It's
the spread is 20 cents right now, or
yeah.
It's 19.45 is a spread right now. So make sure you put those limit orders in. You know, you don't want to be given free capital to Voyager. No wonder they're making so much money.
Those spreads are a little high right now, and have been historically. Here's what the current daily sentiment looks like on it to the price. The price has been, you know, to the downside a lot, but you know, sentiment has been all over the place, really. And if you look at the dashboard over here, we have it's still below neutral. Our volume is down, you know, minus 45% on the relative trading, but I believe that's because of the Asian overnight hours due to the holiday. All right, Ethereum. What do we got on Ethereum? What has it been doing? It's been mimicking on my side exactly what Bitcoin's been doing a little bit, so nothing spectacular. You see it have that short run up there. It's starting to get some legs.
Yeah, we're past the interim level here with the middle Keltner channel, and so that's a very good sign. From the bullish perspective, it shows that we were able to bounce off that bottom band, and that kind of goes where this is a good example of an asset finding support. So for instance, we were just talking about where is VGX going to find support. It'll probably find support at one of these, you know, bottom bands, similar to what Ethereum has just done. And then we get a reversion back to the mean, which is that middle channel. If we can get above here and then continue to trend upward, that's going to be a very bullish thing for the macro trend, because as you see, we always are above the top band in like bull trends. That's really what you want to look for. But I do want to zoom out and see this on the larger term time frame as well. Okay, so we're on a green 8. That means we might get a catalyst tomorrow on that green 9 with more bullish price action, potentially up into 2K. We're seeing a little bit of an increase in volume, nothing that significant yet though. But this is a very bullish green hammer candle, and it's exactly what I like to see from the bullish perspective following a sell-off, because like I was saying earlier in the show, buyers really stepped in last night and bought that dip. And when you kind of think about the state of what the market's in, a lot of people are on vacation. A lot of people are not working right now. We have very low volumes overall. So for price to be able to rally that strongly after such a sell-off is very, very bullish thing from a macro viewpoint in my mind. Let's check out Ethereum on the weekly chart, because it's probably pretty similar to Bitcoin. Yeah, so not a whole lot different than Bitcoin here. The critical level for Ethereum is obviously going to be the 2K level because it's a psychological level. Then the actual Fibonacci level is going to be 2245. So I'm really going to watch those two in the next 2 weeks as we see whether or not Bitcoin can truly make that dominant ascent up to 62K. But I think it will, and I think we're gonna be very surprised these next few weeks.
I mean, 2,500 is not looking like an outlandish number anymore. I mean, when we were down in the $1,700 range, everybody was saying, "Hey, 2,500 is going to be the next psychological bull top." You know, we're all going to be happy and go to Disneyland. But now we're getting closer and closer and closer to it. What do you think happens once we hit 2,000? Just from a mental aspect, not from a technical aspect.
I think price is going to explode. I think that like we have no idea how powerful this bull market is going to be. And the thing that's crazy is that a lot of capital comes into Bitcoin, obviously, but Bitcoin's already at $900 billion worth of market cap. It can do a nice 3 to 4x from here, pretty reasonably. But the altcoins I mean, there's going to be billions, hundreds of billions of dollars, potentially even trillions coming into Bitcoin and then into the altcoin market indirectly. So I think we're just going to see a lot of very interesting fireworks, and it's going to be 2017 even amplified. And so I mentioned I want to share some macro models to get away from the short-term price action. We think about 50 to 60K and like, oh, that's a huge jump, but I want to back up and show the bigger picture here about 100K price levels, potential 200K price levels, because I believe we're going to reach a time at the end of the cycle where we're so volatile, we're seeing $10,000 daily ranges, or in other words, $10,000 daily candles. And that's starting here with the stock to flow ratio and seeing based on our past projections, if we were to follow any of the previous trajectories, we would overshoot the 100,000 level to approximately 150 to 200K roughly. And we're right on track to do that. We're actually accelerating faster and ahead of the speed of the curve of what I initially thought. The second one that I really like, and this has been very successful at calling market cycle tops. As you can see here in the past few market cycles, these two moving averages have called the top in Bitcoin bull markets to the accuracy of 3 days. So if we look at our past cycle and kind of try to understand how close these bands are getting to one another, we're not fully parabolic yet. We're not at a full top cycle. We're still like, July of 2017 in the macro cycle of where we are now. Once these bands start really coming together and converging, and that's like showing the ultimate peak of the price level, that's where I want to seriously start taking money out of Bitcoin and lightening up on the altcoins, because alts have a tendency to keep going after Bitcoin peaks. Bitcoin peaked last market cycle, I think it was December 14th of 2017. But then again, Ethereum, XRP, some of the altcoins, they didn't top until about 2 weeks into January. And so, Bitcoin may top first, but we may see a couple more weeks with the altcoins having those parabolic gains after. But I'm watching this very closely, the pi cycle top indicator, but we're not quite there yet. The next one is going to be the reserve risk. And this essentially gives us a very nice perspective of where we are in the macro cycle on Bitcoin. And so if we draw our attention to this bottom kind of metric or indicator here, you can see that when the reserve risk enters anywhere into this overbought territory or this red band here, you can see that that spells trouble for the trend ahead. But where we are in our current point, we're not even, we're just about halfway there. So I will say, from a time perspective, I say we're about 5 to 6, maybe the 5th or 6th inning in this overall bull market, judging by this particular metric. Maybe halfway there, maybe slightly less than halfway there. But I think the thing that's important to understand is that the last, the actual tail occurs very quickly, and it's responsible for a lot of the gains.
CJ, what would you say is, so if you say we're nearly halfway there, we're about halfway there through this bull cycle according to the macro indicators, when would you say our bull cycle started precisely? Like what weeks of last year? And then what would you say would be the overall time frame? When can we look for the plane crash?
Yeah, in retrospect, we would say that the bull market ended. All right, well, let me zoom in on this because this was the crash from Corona, and this is a black swan event. This is like a 1%, 1 in a million chance that we would get a 40% correction in one day. So I don't know if I can count this low. I'm just going to ignore that. I'm going to say that the beginning of the bear market, or excuse me, the beginning of the bull market truly began when we bottomed here and when the reserve risk gave you the indication to buy because we're in this green territory. Anytime we get into this green territory or just slightly out of it, it's been a very profitable time to accumulate Bitcoin for the long haul. And this is what we're talking about, like macro cycles. We're not talking about 1 or 2 week interim trades. We're talking about like 6 to 8 month holds potentially. So where could the cycle top? That's a good question. I still think Bitcoin is going to be susceptible to these 60% corrections once it reaches the peak of its market cycle. I don't care that corporations are involved. It's good for a price floor and everything, but they're looking at these charts too. They understand the risks of an emerging market growing at 1,000–2,000% each market cycle. So I still do think we're going to have a 40 to 50 or potentially even 60% correction once we get sufficiently into this red zone reserve risk target. And that will probably come, if we were to do it by time frames, it would probably be in about 200 days, probably less than 200 days, judging by the stock to flow. So if we want to time like a potential market top, I am always looking at this distance between like the yellowish greenish tint to start taking profit on the way up. We're not quite there yet. As you can see, we're about 120 days to our next Bitcoin halving. So I'm going to be waiting and looking once we're about 1,000 days out. I'm going to be looking, okay, what's the optimal way to take profit? Where are we in terms of stock to flow? Where are we in terms of, the pi cycle top? And then of course, where are we in terms of the reserve risk? If we get a confluence of indicators and all of these three based on the macro cycle saying that we're probably at least, 1 to 3 weeks to a potential top, I'm going to listen to that because I still believe in the theory of cycles with Bitcoin.
I believe, along with that, we talk about corporates, it's great for a price war. That is true. But when we go through our next correction, I always believe there's a correction after the top that's dramatic, that it could be accelerated even further and faster because of we have normal profit taking, we have normal things that drive down cycles, but this is going to be de-risking balance sheets at a massive, massive scale. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's a really good point because Tesla and various corporations, they're going to perform rebalancing of their portfolio. Let's say if they have 1% in Bitcoin and it goes up, 2–3x from here, they're going to rebalance it. Maybe not back to 1%, but they're going to take some profit off the table. That's just pretty much the name of the game. And you're right, that could accelerate selling, especially if you could hear that in the news, like, oh, Tesla took profit from their Bitcoin. That will probably be worse for the price than it was good when Tesla actually bought.
Exactly.
So, double-edged sword. Hopefully not.
When these folks are tweeting out their love of Bitcoin in the bull market, that they didn't become your best friend all of a sudden. Trust me, they'll walk away when it has to do with the bottom line and the dollar. And I just think it's going to be an accelerant to the fire when it comes. Also, I'd like to note that CJ has nicely pointed out how we're all going to have a really crappy Christmas this year because supposedly a little before it, the bull market's done. But until then, we have had a good run in the altcoins. It's been a great reward for all of us. CJ, really, we've waited 2 years for things to get back on the bandwagon. So
I think it's been longer. I think it's been since like 2020, early 2018. I've been waiting. We've all been waiting. So
I just remember, I just know that when October of 2018 came and we went into crypto winter, man, that winter was long. It was cold. And nothing really happened in the market until DeFi kind of came along and started pumping up markets and adding a new retrospect to where to make profits and stuff like that. And then of course the bull run accelerated. So
I'll tell you what was going on in 2018. Doubt, insecurity, questioning career choice. And there were fundamental principles we believed from 2017, from Bitcoin, from the Bitcoin standard, from all of those things. And we persevered, we stayed through. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm trying to talk about the audience members who have been in since 2017. You earned this bull market. Never let anyone tell you that you were lucky. You stuck through those 40% pullbacks and all of those atrocious things. Just make sure that you take care of yourself and you don't make a fortune and then give it completely back to the market.
exactly, and that's the whole point. I mean, eating ramen noodles for a certain period of time to make your riches is good. Just don't give
Hey
it back.
man, don't talk bad about ramen. I towards my diet right there.
Nothing wrong with ramen. Nothing wrong with it at all. All right, folks, got a little negativity on the sentiment and the charts in the market today, but it will turn around. We do have mid to long term bullish signals coming. Just really nothing happening today, and with all the holidays, once again, kind of a bore. But don't get scared. I saw a lot of people in our community getting scared earlier today on some pullbacks with their alts, but all in all, hopefully everybody's up. Hopefully everybody's been making a decent chunk of money. And we will catch you again tomorrow, hopefully with some exciting news or something. Just kind of wanted to run through the big boards. We had to hit up the VGX because I was getting asked a lot on what support level looked like and wanted to let the people know that. So CJ, thank you. Everybody, thank you. And we will see you tomorrow, folks.
There you have it. Alex, man of the people.